And the big day has arrived. We've got the fire plug, that would be Jerry the Nads Nadler, and Adam Schifferbrains in a collective orgasmic near climax, all excited, all bothered, all ready for Mueller to make his big stand before Congress today. The question is, will it be a bomb or a bombshell? Hi, it's Pastor Marty from the Afternoon Drive. Welcome to the Wednesday edition here on YouTube. We have had now an endless news cycle for the past 72 hours over what was going to happen in the Mueller hearing. You have the DOJ coming out and telling him, you better stay within the guidelines of what you wrote and don't go beyond that. You have Adam Schiff telling Mueller, ignore what the Department of Justice said and you tell us what we want to hear. There will be, no doubt, theatrics today and drama, and of course, that late breaking news of yesterday afternoon that Mr. Mueller would not be coming alone, but be bringing his former assistant deputy. Oh, so that he can answer the questions that Mr. Mueller has too much integrity to answer, because it goes beyond the perimeter of what he was asked to do by the Department of Justice. We see the setup coming. We know what's going to happen on certain levels. And then on certain levels, I think the Democrats are going to be very, very disappointed. But no matter what Mueller says or doesn't say, understand this going into it. The liberals are going to claim victory no matter what. They're going to try to make hay out of this no matter what. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and do endless speculation and guesstimation of what it is that Mueller is going to say. My best prediction is he will throw one or two little barbs in there against the president. He will have a whole lot of innuendo and inference and not a shred of actual evidence. And we will hear this ad nauseum mantra over the next several hours as this unfolds on live television and streaming on the internet, and when news commentators break in for their commentary, that no one, including the president, is above the law. And my response to that is, while I agree no one is above the law, that is not what gets practiced by the deep state, oligarch, establishment politicians. There is overwhelming evidence of the crimes of Hillary Rodham Clinton. And I'm not just talking about that email server. Her actual collusion with Russia. She financed, paid for the infamous dossier that was based on Russian intelligence, that was spoon-fed to the media, to members of Congress, and that Jimmy Comey and Mr. Rosenstein used to procure FISA warrants to spy illegally on private citizen Donald J. Trump when he was running for office. Where's that investigation? What about Hillary being exonerated on the email issue before she had even answered question one? James Comey had already been drafting her exoneration before she ever answered a question. And when she was brought in for interrogation on a holiday weekend, 4th of July, no one took any notes, no one recorded the interview. The woman illegally used an unsecured server so that it was not subject, don't miss this, so it was not subject to the Free Information Act. And those 33,000 emails were just about Chelsea's wedding and yoga class. Give me a break. And when you see the size of Hillary Rodham Clinton and the way she can't move, it's highly doubtful she went to yoga class. We have the Clintons receiving millions, tens of millions of dollars into the Clinton Foundation from Russian entities, while Hillary Rodham Clinton was Secretary of State. And in turn, Russia ended up with 20% of our uranium. You know, that stuff they enrich to make nuclear weapons. No pay for play there, no trying to garner favor and, shall we say, access to the person they thought was going to be the president. Where's the investigation into that? Where are the arrests for that? The actual crimes that there is plenty of evidence to prove happened. But yet, here we go now, year number 3, and this absolute hogwash, waste of time, canard lie of Russian collusion between Donald J. Trump and the Kremlin. And this sick sideshow goes on. I realize it gives Don Lemon something to do on camera on CNN other than try to conceal the fact that he's glad he's got a really high desk that he gets to sit behind and that his hands are down in his lap while the cameras are rolling so that nobody can actually see what he's doing to himself while he's on television. Yeah, I am a little bit jaded and I'm a little bit irritated by all of this. Enough of this nonsense. Enough, enough, enough. We had a president, one Barackmas Obadamus, the alleged 44th president of the United States, who still can't actually prove his birthright. We know that he engaged in activities and followed the political example of individuals like underground terrorist, his associations, his connections, nefarious at best, treasonous at worst, and yet we're told his administration was scandal-free. Joe the Bonehead Biden wants to be the heir apparent to come in and restore America back to the Obama greatness. And yet, the band plays on. The bread and circuses continues. We keep dividing right versus left rather than worrying about right versus wrong. Because again, the president is not above the law. But the only people in this country that the Democrats are seemingly willing to say are above the law, and they've broken no law, and they're okay, they walk on water, they are Jesus incarnate, are illegal aliens. You know, people who actually broke the law to get here in the first place, violated all of our immigration policies and guidelines, and, you know, crossed the Rio Grande and tunneled under fences and, you know, got themselves smuggled in here in the back of fruit trucks. They violate law after law after law after law after law, yet we are told that they are these peasants are just bastions of love and yearning for freedom in their huddled masses. Oh, they're lawbreakers. They're here illegally. And yet, the Democrats will refer to this president as a Nazi, talking about the detention centers at the border as concentration camps. Really? Because, you know, I seem to recall that the Jews were rounded up against their will and sent to these places. They didn't voluntarily say, hey, let's go there, which is exactly what the illegals do. You know, word does tend to spread, even through caravans of migrants. And if our detention centers were actually concentration camps, the people in those migration groups would stop trying to cross the border to be detained in them. I guarantee you, those detention centers at the border, I am sure for many of them, it's high living compared to the third world toilets they came out of. But again, the media doesn't portray that accurately. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will stand in front of an empty parking lot and declare she's at the border looking at migrants being detained in the Trump concentration camps. She will lie and say that there are people there being forced to drink out of toilets. And yet, it is this president who constantly gets interrogated and investigated, and the treasonous words of the four horsewomen of the apocalypse go unchecked, go uncensured, and the band plays on. And today, we get treated to yet another Mueller drama. A guy himself who has been exposed for having wrongfully convicted individuals and placing them in incarceration until appeals, and it was proven that evidence had been withheld and evidence had been twisted to incarcerate the wrong people. And yet we're supposed to take the word of Bobby Mueller, who was there to cover up for the actions of James Comey and the Clapper and Brennan, who were all in it up to their eyeballs trying to pull off a soft coup against a duly elected president. We are watching more cover-up, more storytelling, and that's what we're going to get today. I will not be breaking in, doing any live updates, and I will have some analysis when it's over. But I know that going into this, what we can expect. And no, I will not be waiting with bated breath to hear what Bobby Mueller has to say. It will be interesting in what he doesn't say and how the media tries to spin that, twist that. And, of course, what Adam Schiff for Brains and Jerry the Nads Nadler try to turn it into. The only bombshell truly would be as if Bob Mueller walked in there, had a random attack of conscience, and because I am a man of faith, a man of theology, a man of God, if you will, I am praying. The Word of God does declare the truth shall set you free, and I have been praying that Mr. Mueller would be under such conviction of guilt, he would actually admit to a stunned House inquiry that he kind of exaggerated. That he actually, the bombshell would be as if he gave President Trump a full exoneration. My guess is there'll be a whole lot of innuendo aimed at the president. Nothing of real substance, and the band will play on. But hey, illegals can cross, come on in, immediately get free housing, free legal counsel, free food, free education, free health care. You work and pay into the system for 40, 50 years, and what's waiting for you during retirement? And why would you vote for a political party that is interested more about the non-existent rights of people who aren't even citizens here and came in here illegally than they are about protecting your rights? Why would you vote for that? And why would you vilify a man whose main goal has been, let's make America great? Meaning, let's put Americans back to work. Let's make sure that foreign policy and trade deals and everything that we do have the best interest of America, Americans at heart, so that you can work jobs where you don't have to worry about the government guaranteeing you $20 an hour, but the employer would pay you $20 an hour because that's what the market demands, because that's what's happening with the economy, and you could actually put your kids through school and enjoy and live that middle class, upper class dream because you live in a land of freedom and economic opportunity. And that's what the Democrats are vilifying, and that's what they're putting on trial today, because they have no answers, they have no solutions. Look at what Democrat administrations have done when they run major metropolitan cities. Isn't that right, Bill de Blasio? Letting your cops be beat on while it's videoed? And what are you doing about it? Jack nothing, that's what. Look at major cities, the cesspools, the crime, the urban blight, the homelessness in Los Angeles and San Francisco, and they all have Democratic administrations. Democrat, socialist, they will give you third worldism. They hate Donald Trump because they understood one thing about him. Though he was a political outsider and that he would be hated even by establishment Republicans, they understood that his ideals to the core were American, capitalistic, freedom, which would set people free and create a robust economy, but it also made him dangerous because he restored the power to we the people. And the people in power, that's dangerous. They don't get to manipulate, control. They don't get to mandate. They don't get the carte blanche of just being able to say what we want to hear during an election cycle and then going to Washington and doing exactly what they want to do and secure their own financial fortune. A president who was actually picked by the people, despite the media campaigns, despite the negativity, and a president who got there and then didn't fall in line and play the game with the deep state, but called the deep state out, called the fake media out, calls the opposition out, and actually governs for the people. Wow. And you have to know that in the minds of committed Democrats and never Trump rhino Republicans and the mainstream lying legacy media and the corrupt oligarch deep state elitism within the Republican and Democratic parties, he got to go. So I am praying today that again, God protect and vindicate our president, and that Mueller has a random act of actual guilt of conscience. It should be interesting, but I probably won't watch it. I will catch the highlights when it's over, and I'll give you my analysis then. That's it for today's rant. You have a great day. Don't get too caught up in all of the hoopla and hype that you will hear coming from the media today. And when you have to fly out of an airport today or be somewhere where there's public access to CNN, because, you know, the only way they get any ratings is to buy it. And you hear the commentary, it's not going well for Trump, and Mueller is absolutely just nailing the nails into the coffin. Let it go in one ear and out the other. It is hogwash personified. But wouldn't it be something? Wouldn't it really be something if Mueller actually went in there and did something radical, like tell the truth and exonerate the president? That's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you've subscribed to the channel, share this video, let other people know about this channel, and smack the bell to get my next rant.